G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a vintage repeater. The best way I could describe this particular weapon is a love child between a Henry repeater and a Winchester repeater, with a strong emphasis on those Fallout 3 Point Lookout DLC vibes. Look at this thing. Looks like it's just been lifted from that game, but upscaled to match the rest of the assets in Fallout 4. Looks great. It has custom sounds animations as well. We've seen the animations before, but you reload this thing by loading shells into that side. So it doesn't have that really weird Fallout 3 reload where you'll open up the end of the barrel and just stuff the bullets down there in some sort of weird reverse hopper mechanism. So that's cool. Although it'd be funny if they went and did animations for a version that operated exactly like that one from Fallout 3, which I think the reason that is because they just reused the BB gun animations for a lever action rifle, which probably didn't really matter all that much since there was that unique one, the Lincoln repeater, back in Fallout 3 vanilla game, but then they reused the animations again for all of those repeaters that you found in Far Harbor? Fallout 3's Far Harbor, Point Lookout. Sorry, they're similar. There's Fog, and they're on an island, and there's Inbred, so it's pretty much the same DLC. Let's get into the attachments. First of all, we've got the receivers. Go all the way down for advanced receiver. We're firing the 4440 cartridges, so that's 4 score and 400 more or something like that. A little bit of patriotism there for your American Civil War, I suppose. You can see the 4440 bullets tucked right in there. I suppose that's got something to do with how the shell ejects, but yeah, they're in the tube. That's how this thing stocks its ammo. Anyways, 235 damage for a start is actually pretty good. And next we've got barrels. Right now we've got a long barrel, which is going to be your best for utilizing at range, retaining that damage over range, VATS accuracy over range. But if you want to optimize this thing more for VATS, you can put a short barrel in it. That'll presumably lower your ammo capacity as well because the tube isn't so long, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to come to pass. There's also a option for in the middle, but long barrel is going to be your strongest one and an overall thing, and you don't have to worry about extra barrel length in close quarters anyway, so long barrel is the way to go. And we'll move over to the stocks now. You can have a short one, something salvaged, full stock, that seems to be the standard one, but it'll give you all of that. We've also got a taped version, bruised one, which has a really cool like teeth or something at the bottom of that little spiky thing, so when you bash people it does more damage, but that's kind of cool. There's also options for a gunslinger stock, which has a couple of cartridges sitting on that stock there that'll improve your reload speed, so why the hell wouldn't I do that? There's also a marksman stock, means your scope will sway less if you aim down a scope. Whether this thing can actually equip a scope, I'm not actually sure, so I suppose we'll find out now. There it is, there's the scope, and look at that. That is proper old school Martini Henry looking scopes, isn't it? That's about as long as the barrel itself. Interesting. There's also options for glow sights as well, folded and unfolded for the sights. But I think, since this is a lever action rifle, let's go for something a little bit more scoping. Go for a medium scope on this thing. There's also options for night vision scopes, which have a couple of, I guess maybe that's IR lights to help you aim. It's like an IR lens or something. It looks pretty old school, but if you don't like the look of that, then just use the standard ones. You also get a muzzle slot as well. You can attach a bayonet if you feel like it, compensator, muzzle brake for recoil control, or a suppressor. If we do that, we get Ace Operator, almost 300 damage. That's a pretty good start. Legendary effect provided by Legendary Modification. We'll skip over that. And now you can have an extraneous accessory, including a spiked lever, which will give you even more bash damage. So we might make a bashing variant of this because there's a couple of attachments that might lend itself pretty well. So if we get a close quarters bashing variant, that might be pretty interesting. There's a lever wrap here, or a lever wrap, that gives you better fire rate and AP costs. Pretty nice. Also a shell saddle, side saddle thing for even faster reload speed. So this thing's covered in its own ammunition, so should make it a pretty easy task to figure out where you want to grab the cartridges for reloads. And that is it for the attachments. We'll make a few more of these. There's also a couple of variants that are unique, and I'll show you to get those. Let's get started. This weapon is injected onto leveled list at level 10, so make sure you look out for this thing if you are interested in it. You might have a little bit of trouble finding the ammunition for it, but it'll give you quite a bit of power at a lower level. So yep, this gearhead is selling it for 115 caps, which is a pretty good bargain, I think, although this thing is very minimalist at the moment. We'll have to take that back to Workbench, fix it, but thanks, Clanker. Appreciate it. The funniest thing about having absolutely zero ammo for this particular repeater is that we can't find anything to load it with. There is nothing within my immediate vicinity that I might put into the repeater to load it, to fire at people. There's just no options for that anywhere in sight. The first unique we'll find is located right here at the Nahant Chapel over on the, the eastern side of the map on the Nahant Wharf itself. And you want to get to the steeple of this chapel. Now you can do that by running around the back and climbing some stairs to get up, or you could just grapple hook yourself up there. Nah, I'm up here already. And you'll find the final breath right here at the very top.
Excellent.
Time slows down for a moment while hammering the final round in the magazine, which deals twice the amount of damage. So we want to keep a shorter barrel on this, presumably to lower the ammo capacity so we can make more use of that. Plus, it's got this really cool paint job on it with the etching and the gold little bits. Very nice. It's a work of art, if you're into that sort of thing. The last unique is located here at Thicket Excavations. It does require this place to be drained, so once you've dealt with Sully Mathis up here, and it turns out he's a raider, by the way, that's the plot twist, but once you get this place drained, you can go all the way down to the ground, and you'll find Quicksilver in this steamer trunk. It's got 25% faster fire rate and 15% faster reload. Particularly good for a lever action rifle, so we'll be looking to make that even better on a workbench. But we've got our 4 lever guns, or repeaters I should say. I'm going to call them lever guns because I suppose the terminology there is still valid, but I'm going to try to call them repeaters for the rest of the video. This is going to work, don't worry. Alrighty, we're back at Immersive Gunners Plaza. We've got our work cut out for us because, well, my honest prediction, I think this might struggle a little bit, but we'll see how we go. Oh, hang on, there's a wrist seam. One moment. There we go, fixed it. You can't even see it now. Anyway, so a quick look at this thing in third person. We've already seen what this thing looks like, but we'll have a quick pan around on the camera. It's a pretty long repeater, but even on your back, it's not long enough to make it look too ridiculous, so I think that works pretty well. Also, it's got that 12 ammo capacity, which is awesome, and there's the reload in third person with proper bullet counter reload system here, so if we expel 3 rounds, reload 3, we're good to go. Very nice. Here's my close quarters bash damage one with the bash stock, which you can barely see, the bash lever, and a bayonet on the front. So this thing should be bashing for car igniting amounts of damage. Plus it's got iron sights that I don't intend to use, but they're there, I suppose. Did I say this thing has custom sounds? No, that definitely sounds like Far Harbor, but I don't know, maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity there to make it sound a little bit different. Here is Final Breath. If we demonstrate this thing's slow motion ability. Ooh, you can see that shockwave in slow motion. That's cool. And lastly, we've got Quicksilver. That's actually the way it's called. That's actually its name. And I've got a short scope on this. I've also put a suppressor on it because if it's a sniper, then you want a suppressor. And it's fast. Very, very fast indeed. And I've pissed off a giant mantis. That's terrible. I've also extended the barrel to a long barrel because I want that extra capacity. Anyway, so Mantis is dead. I'm stuttering a little bit, both in speech and the game is. So let me reboot the computer and I'll be right back. There we go, all rebooted and running much smoother now. Side note, it's amazing how much better your computer runs when you don't have 12 tabs open of Twitch with e-girls streaming. That's a thought. Maybe you could do that if you feel like your computer's running slow. Just turn the e-girls off. Anyways, so we're just going to get started by shooting these guys in slow motion. Terrible whip there in slow motion, but you get the idea. That was a sniper knockdown, I believe I just saw, which is great. And if we can get some gun feel action happening, then that would be pretty good. We hit that guy for 880 damage. That's pretty nice. And look at that fast reload. We've reloaded this thing before our AP even come back, so this is a pretty good start, but we could probably do a little bit better if we utilize something a little bit different. If we go over to Quicksilver with the shorter scope, and we just spam the trigger on this thing, yeah, the muzzle is going to shift and the reticule is going to radically jump around the screen because I got a rechamber the rounds, but Yeah, as soon as they get closer, I'm hitting them for almost 1200 damage. So I think as a sniper weapon, it might be pushing it a little bit. Sure, you can get the job done, but you gotta wait till they get nice and close before you get all of that extra juicy damage. Speaking of which, we've got gun through active, and as soon as we've reloaded this, I don't know, this one seems to be slightly better on AP usage, probably because it's using a lesser magnification of a scope. Perhaps we got a little bit more lucky with our gun through and going into the Grim Reaper sprint. Okay, there's a mysterious stranger. He's gonna aggro those guys, so it's all over. But I think we've killed enough at this point so we can start the actual charge here. And maybe as we go into close quarters, we'll use our super spiky bayonet version, complete with its god-awful iron sights. Like, I can't see anything. Just go into third person. That's way better. Also, utilizing bullet count reload. I may have broken it by being in third person. In fact, I think I have broken this mod previously by switching to third person and doing that. Perfectly capable of shooting stuff, but we've got a bayonet on this thing, so we'll hit them with a crit for 500 damage. I think we could probably do better with this thing if we, okay, that was unnecessary. I was hoping for more of a bash kill bonanza thing, but we're not getting warfighter levels of bash damage here. It's definitely more tame. Does it feel underwhelming? Yes, 3 damage is not good at all. Actually, I don't know what that extra damage was. Somehow I got 3 damage. In slow motion, where your bashing animations aren't as impeded by time, though, I suppose you can get away with it if you use your old-fashioned bullet time VATs. You know, we'll come back for these guys. Let's go over to Final Breath. Here it is. So we want to get this thing. I suppose if we're using this thing in VAFs, it'll mess up going into slow motion. Not as much as my aim, though. That's double. That's not too bad. What I could do is, I've got all these VATS criticals, so may as well shoot this guy. That's legendary slow time, 700 damage. Yeah, that's alright. It's pretty helpful for those last couple of headshots that you might want to get on an enemy. And the slow motion does last a while, so I suppose if your reload's fast enough, or if you want to still utilize that slow motion, you can probably get 1 round reloaded in before the slow motion effect wears off, so that's pretty good. What have you got there? Don't know, but that sounded very distinctive, didn't it? The guns completely disappeared, so we'll keep on running here, and maybe we'll go back to Quicksilver. This thing's been fairly consistent. I think the fire rate has a lot to do with it, but there's also the option of hip firing this thing with specific perks. Like you see, it can be pretty good, but we're not like laser sight pinpoint accuracy, of course, but as soon as I attach a... Actually, you know what? I think if there was an option for a laser sight on a vintage repeater like this, I would take it, because I have got no concept of gun fashion. I just put what I want on it and think, hey, that's cool. More attachments equals cooler. You know, it's a wonder how I've got so many subscribers when I pull weapon mods and do terrible, terrible things to them. That might be the thing that's holding me back, but the fact that I've got as many in the first place, I think, is a damn... It's a damn miracle, that's for sure. Ooh, should have kept that going, because I believe I would have had gun through active at that point. Well, we're going to be very pissed off whilst opening this door, and I don't think there's going to be much better than I could use than this one at the moment. Just getting that extra fire rate as I take out the rest of these gunners, which there's still plenty around as it turns out. And, oh, we're flying. You've got to be careful with doing that, because there's a chance that I might die to full damage there. The casually just walk in front of that guy. Now that is a big launcher. I'm going to have to ask you to put that down, please. You wouldn't shoot it at point blank, would you? Don't think so. Well, that was a timely level up, wasn't it? And I think we're done here. So that there was a vintage repeater, and, well, we did a lot of you could argue that it was Cheese doing it with the slow motion VATs, but, you know, I could have done the same thing with real-timey VATs. And speaking of, see, I could have done that with like regular old VATs, and then, you know, it's not the same. I do tend to prefer the extra little bit of user-generated input, or user input that you'd put in. User-generated, that's the content that I'm using. Anyways, so I think that guy that I ragdolled off must have died. I saw like a number over that must have been him. So he must have just got launched and then, like, I don't know, broke his neck or something. But he is not getting up, and we are done here for reals this time. So let's move on to Big Monster and see how we go. I'm guessing if we use sniper knockdowns, we can cheese it real well. So fingers crossed. Righto, looks like he's got a few, maybe that's bugs around. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Well, I don't think that's aggroed the spawn. Yeah, whatever, just get over with. Alright, the bug infestation has been taken out. What was that? Ah, that was a Cazador, and that other gigantic thing was a Centaur. One of those Fallout 4 spec Centaurs, the one they had in the concept art, which I don't think saw the light of day in the end. But now we reload, and we backpedal and try to shoot him as fast as we possibly can with this. Still don't know where I'm getting that extra little bits of damage from. I don't think that's a bug in the mod itself. It might be a bug with the mod, the damage mod. And there we go. There's the rapid cartwheeling knockdowns that I wanted to see, which I was completely squandering shots on him doing that when I was hip firing him, but you get it. And what better time to regenerate my VATS criticals than by doing this over and over. Okay, now he's aggro to something else. What is that? Feral Ghoul Reaver. Okay, now I've got a bit of gun fu on my side. I wasted it because he was getting up and is immortal. You can't damage him when his getting up animations are active. Doesn't matter. Anyways, so now we are actually fighting, and I think at this stage, I'm gonna go up here. What are you gonna do about that, mate? Is it cheating doing this? Probably. Is it funny still? Yes, definitely. Let's see how Quicksilver does with its AP usage, because it should be slightly better since I'm using a slightly lesser magnification scope. Let him go. You can definitely tell that even in VATS, this thing is firing so much faster. Let me just get this reload done nice and fast. We'll get a full bar of crits before we move on. So there it is. Do want to gamble and... You know what? I'll just hit him with a few. Why not? At this stage, what else can I do? Oh, there's a Deathclaw running in. A little bit of extra damage. Why not? Miss out on damage heavily if I use a shorter barrel. I was thinking that extra little bit of damage that it'll give me is going to be helpful, but we interrupt this fight to bring you Deathclaw. I think I just kneecapped him. No, don't do that. Hit his legs. I like how you can just sort of run rings around enemies sometimes if you use slow motion, because it gives you the... This, I think he fell through the earth. Well, I suppose that's a win. He retreated, so technically we won. Well, yep, you get the idea. That's case closed. It's good at sniping, but we need to get a full kill with proper sniping. So maybe we'll wait until night, and then we'll fight the next monster. Alright, it is now the middle of the night. The stars are out. What a glorious night it is. And we'll fight through this raider camp and get a cheap headshot in the back of someone's power armor there. They didn't even see it coming. But this is all small fish. We've got to go to the big fish at the end of this particular area. Which, these guys, they're just here to dial in my aim a little bit. To make sure we've got these guys well covered before we try to engage. I suppose we could try to get back some of these criticals. If we use our unsuppressed one, that'll end quickly. So, with this thing's accuracy, well, it's going to be guaranteed hits pretty much anywhere I point it. So, that's pretty nice, actually. So, maybe this is going to fulfill that role of that medium range, really efficient VATS weapon, because I don't see there being any sort of flaw to this. You could put a suppressor on it and be fairly successful in that endeavor. So, there's something that's kind of going for it. It's just, any sort of longer range fights with it, I feel like it struggles. Granted, I'm using a suppressor on some of these, which is hurting the range, but you'd think that the massive multipliers would boost that. Although, I've just killed a Mylurk Queen in 2 shots, so maybe it's just fine and my standards are ridiculous. Who knows? Anyway, so there's the Mylurk Killclaw Overlord. We hit him for the Boeing number, 747. And one more crit. It's pretty good. We'll keep on hitting him until he gets knocked down. He'll do some sort of little disco dance. And we'll reload using fast hands in slow motion. Also, we're putting our VATS shots together. Alright, full AP bar. 1 crit ready to go. Let's keep it coming. Timely crit. And as I've come into this sort of medium range now, we're hitting him for 1,500 points of damage. So, a sniper weapon, she is not, but a close to maybe medium range weapon, a carbine repeater, that's where it's going to really shine. So, if you're looking at this thing like it's a sniper weapon, there are better options, of course, like your vanilla game Gauss rifle will trounce this thing in terms of damage per shot and damage over range, thanks to all of that extra damage that it brings per shot. But this thing, it's still capable, and being a level 10 weapon, it's probably punching way above its intended weight, but it did a really good job there. So I think we've discovered what niche this thing fills, and I suppose that's a bit of a good design thing that we've picked that up. Either that or I'm reading too far into it, but I do think this thing is worth having a look if you're looking for some sort of cowboy build, or if you're feeling a bit patriotic about some Civil War that happened in the 1800s, then you go ahead and download this mod, and I feel like you'll be right at home. Plus, if you've got nostalgia for that that DLC, it's not Far Harbor, it's Point Lookout, then there's very little reason to say that you shouldn't download this thing. So on that, I think that's about it for me from this video. Check out the weapon, link in the description if you feel like downloading this thing. Recommend it. Thank you very much for watching, guys.